Hey, beautiful Taurus souls, come sit with me for a moment because what I'm about to share with you today is going to be quite the journey. I just finished doing this reading, and honestly, the cards have something incredibly important to reveal about a situation in your love life that you need to know about. This isn't about scaring you, but rather about protecting you and helping you see clearly what's been hidden in the shadows. Before we dive in, I want you to know that sometimes the universe shows us difficult truths because it loves us enough to warn us. What's coming through today is about discovering some behavior patterns in someone close to you that are far from healthy. The cards are being very clear about this, and I feel called to share this message with you with all the love and care in my heart. So I'm pulling cards for this reading about discovering pathological behavior. And right away, the energy feels heavy but necessary. You know that feeling when you're about to learn something that will change everything? That's exactly what's happening here. Let me show you what came through. The first card that practically jumped out of the deck is the Tower. And Taurus, this card never shows up lightly. When I pulled this, I actually had to take a deep breath because the energy was so intense. The Tower represents that moment when everything you thought you knew gets completely shattered. But here's the thing about this card that people don't always understand. It's actually a blessing in disguise. What the Tower is showing me for you right now is that there's been a carefully constructed facade in your life, probably around someone you care about deeply. This person has been presenting themselves in a way that isn't authentic. And the Tower is saying that this mask is about to fall completely. I'm seeing that this revelation is going to be shocking, like lightning striking and illuminating something that was always there but hidden in darkness. The pathological behavior that's about to be revealed isn't something small or manageable. This is deep-rooted pattern that this person has likely been carrying for a very long time. I'm getting the sense that they've become incredibly skilled at hiding their true nature, almost like they've been wearing different masks for different people. But the Tower doesn't discriminate. When it strikes, everything false gets destroyed. What's interesting about this card in your reading is that it's appearing in a way that suggests you've actually been sensing something was off for a while now. Your intuition as a Taurus is incredibly strong, and I bet if you really think about it, there have been moments where you felt uneasy or sensed something wasn't quite right, but you pushed those feelings aside because you wanted to trust this person. The Tower is validating those intuitive hits you've been having. It's saying that your inner knowing was trying to protect you, and now the universe is stepping in to make sure you can no longer ignore what your soul has been trying to tell you. This revelation is going to be sudden and probably quite dramatic, but it's happening because you need to be free from whatever web of deception has been woven around you. The next card that came through is Eight of Swords, and this card is breaking my heart for you because it shows just how trapped you've been feeling without even fully realizing it. This card represents mental imprisonment, feeling stuck and unable to see your options clearly. What's so profound about this card appearing in this reading is that it's showing me you've been gradually isolated or manipulated into a position where you feel like you have no choice but to stay in this situation. The pathological behavior we're talking about often involves this kind of systematic control and manipulation. I'm seeing that this person has been very clever about making you feel like you need them, or that you're somehow responsible for their well-being, or that you'd be lost without them. Classic manipulation tactics that keep you bound to them even when every cell in your body knows something isn't right. What's really coming through strongly with this Eight of Swords is that you've been made to question your own perception of reality. This is called gaslighting, and it's one of the most insidious forms of psychological abuse. This person has likely been telling you that your concerns are unfounded, that you're being too sensitive, that you're imagining things, or that you're the problem in the relationship. But here's what the cards want you to know. Those swords that seem to be trapping you, they're not locked in place. You have more power than you realize to cut through the mental chains that have been placed around you. The blindfold that's been over your eyes is about to come off, and when it does, you're going to see just how much control you actually have over your own life. This Eight of Swords is also showing me that part of the pathological behavior involves this person creating crisis after crisis, keeping you in a constant state of anxiety and reaction so that you never have time to step back and see the bigger picture. They keep you so busy putting out fires that you don't notice they're the one setting them. The third card that appeared is King of Pentacles reversed, and this is where things get really interesting, because this card is revealing something about the true nature of this person's pathology. When the King of Pentacles appears reversed in a reading like this, it's often showing someone who appears successful, stable, and reliable on the surface, but is actually deeply corrupt underneath. This person likely presents themselves as having their life together. Maybe they're good at making money, or seem to have status or respect in their community. People probably look at them and think they're lucky to have someone so accomplished or put together. But what the King of Pentacles reversed is showing me is that this success or stability is built on very shaky foundations. I'm getting the sense that this person may have achieved what they have through manipulation, stepping on others, or even potentially illegal means. The pathological behavior here involves a complete lack of genuine empathy or concern for others. They see people as resources to be used rather than human beings with their own needs and feelings. What's particularly concerning about this card is that it suggests this person is very good at playing the long game. They're patient, calculated, and strategic in their manipulation. They don't just lash out randomly. They plan their moves carefully to get maximum control and benefit from every situation. This makes them incredibly dangerous because they're so good at appearing normal or even admirable to the outside world. The King of Pentacles reversed is also showing me that this person has a very transactional view of relationships. Love, to them, is about what they can get from you rather than genuine connection or care. They may shower you with gifts or financial support, but it always comes with strings attached. Nothing they give is free. It's all part of their system of control. This card is also revealing that their pathological behavior involves a deep sense of entitlement. They believe they deserve to have whatever they want, regardless of how it affects others. They see your love, your time, your energy, your resources as things they have a right to, rather than gifts you choose to give. The fourth card is Three of Swords, and while this card always deals with heartbreak, in this context, it's showing me the emotional devastation that comes with discovering the truth about someone you've loved and trusted. This isn't just regular relationship disappointment. This is the kind of heartbreak that makes you question everything you thought you knew about love, trust, and your own judgment. What's coming through so clearly with this Three of Swords is that the pathological behavior you're discovering involves a complete betrayal of your emotional investment in this person. You've given your heart fully and authentically, believing that you're in a mutual, caring relationship, only to discover that to them, your emotions were just another tool they could use to control you. The three swords piercing the heart in this card represent different levels of betrayal. The first sword is the betrayal of trust, discovering that nothing they told you was completely honest. The second sword is the betrayal of your emotions, realizing that while your love was real, theirs was completely fabricated. The third sword is the betrayal of your future, understanding that every plan you made together, every dream you shared, was built on lies. But here's what I want you to understand about this Three of Swords. While it represents genuine pain and grief, it also represents the beginning of healing. You cannot heal from something you don't acknowledge, and this card is showing that the truth, however painful, is what will ultimately set you free. The pathological behavior that's being revealed is going to hurt to accept, because it means facing the fact that someone you loved was never really there in the way you thought they were. It's like grieving the death of someone who's still alive, because the person you thought you knew never actually existed. This Three of Swords is also showing me that part of their pathological behavior involved deliberately triggering your emotional responses to keep you off balance. They enjoyed having the power to make you feel intense emotions, both positive and negative. Your tears, your joy, your anger, your confusion. It was all entertainment to them, and proof of their control over you. The fifth card that came through is the Devil. And Taurus, this card is probably the most significant one in this entire reading, because it's showing me the true depth of the pathological behavior you're dealing with. The Devil card doesn't represent evil in a supernatural sense, but rather the very human capacity for manipulation, addiction, and the abuse of power. What the Devil is revealing here is that the person you're dealing with has what we might call a pathological need for control and domination. They don't just want to be loved, they want to own you completely. They want to be the center of your universe, the source of all your emotional experiences, the person who determines your worth and your reality. This card is showing me that their behavior follows patterns that are deeply ingrained and likely stem from their own psychological wounds. But here's the crucial thing. Having an explanation for their behavior doesn't make it acceptable or safe for you to endure. The Devil is making it very clear that this person's pathology is not your responsibility to heal or manage. I'm seeing that this person likely has what psychologists call narcissistic traits, or possibly even more serious personality disorders. They see relationships as games to be won, rather than connections to be cherished. They derive pleasure from having power over others, and they're willing to use any means necessary to maintain that power. The Devil is also showing me that part of their pathological behavior involves creating trauma bonds with their partners. They alternate between intense love bombing and cruel withdrawal, creating an addiction-like cycle where you become psychologically dependent on their approval and attention. This isn't love, it's a form of psychological captivity. What's particularly disturbing about what the Devil is showing me is that this person likely studies you, learning your vulnerabilities, your triggers, your deepest fears and desires, and then uses that information as weapons against you. They become experts in your psychology, so they can manipulate you more effectively. The sixth card is Two of Pentacles reversed, and this card is showing me how their pathological behavior has been affecting your ability to maintain balance in your own life. When this card appears reversed in a reading like this, it often indicates that you've been juggling too many things while trying to manage or accommodate someone else's dysfunction. I'm seeing that you've probably been making excuses for this person's behavior, covering for them, trying to present a normal face to the world while privately dealing with chaos and confusion. The Two of Pentacles reversed shows that this balancing act is unsustainable and is likely affecting other areas of your life, your work, your health, your relationships with family and friends. This card is revealing that part of their pathological behavior involves deliberately creating instability in your life so that you become dependent on them for any sense of security. They may create financial problems, social problems, or other crises that keep you feeling like you need them to survive, even though they're actually the source of the problems. The Two of Pentacles reversed is also showing me that you've been trying to maintain your own values and integrity while accommodating behavior that goes against everything you believe in. This creates an internal conflict that's exhausting and confusing. You know something is wrong, but you keep trying to find ways to make it work because you care about this person. What's coming through clearly is that their pathological behavior includes making you feel responsible for their emotional regulation. When they're upset, angry, or acting out, somehow it becomes your job to fix it, calm them down, or make them feel better. This is not how healthy relationships work, and this card is showing you that you're burning out from trying to be someone's entire emotional support system. The seventh card that appeared is Nine of Wands, and this card is showing me just how much you've been through in this situation. The Nine of Wands represents someone who has fought many battles and is still standing, but is wounded and wary. This card is acknowledging the strength you've shown in dealing with this person's pathological behavior but it's also showing that you're running on empty. What's really significant about this card appearing in this position is that it's showing me you've been in defensive mode for a long time now. You've learned to expect attacks, manipulation, or emotional bombs, and you're constantly on guard. This is no way to live, especially in what's supposed to be a loving relationship. The Nine of Wands is revealing that their pathological behavior has included wearing you down through consistent, repeated boundary violations. They keep pushing and testing your limits, never quite doing enough to make you leave entirely, but always doing enough to keep you feeling unsettled and defensive. I'm seeing that you've probably told yourself many times that you can handle this, that you're strong enough to deal with their issues, that your love can somehow heal or change them. But this card is showing me that even the strongest person can only take so much, and you're approaching that limit. What's particularly important about this Nine of Wands is that it's showing up as a warning that you need to stop fighting their battles and start protecting yourself. You've been so focused on trying to understand them, help them, or fix the relationship that you've forgotten to prioritize your own well-being and safety. The eighth and final card that came through is Ace of Cups reversed, and this card is both heartbreaking and hopeful at the same time. The Ace of Cups reversed in this context is showing me that what you thought was the beginning of a beautiful love story was actually the beginning of an emotional nightmare. The cup is turned upside down, showing that instead of receiving love and emotional nourishment, you've been drained and depleted. What this card is revealing about the pathological behavior is that this person is fundamentally incapable of genuine emotional connection. They can mimic it, they can perform it convincingly, but they cannot actually feel or provide real love. They're emotionally bankrupt, and they've been trying to fill that emptiness by feeding off your emotional energy. The Ace of Cups reversed is showing me that their pathological behavior includes what psychologists call emotional vampirism. They don't generate their own positive emotions or sense of self-worth. They steal it from others. Your love, your care, your emotional investment doesn't nourish them in any lasting way because they have a bottomless pit where their capacity for genuine feeling should be. But here's the hopeful aspect of this card. When the Ace of Cups is reversed, it also suggests that once you remove yourself from this draining situation, your natural emotional flow can begin to restore itself. You haven't lost your capacity to love or be loved. It's just been temporarily blocked by someone who doesn't deserve access to your beautiful heart. This card is also showing me that part of their pathological behavior involved making you believe that you were somehow deficient in love, that you weren't giving enough, caring enough, or being enough. But the Ace of Cups reversed is making it clear that the problem was never with your capacity to love. The problem is that you were trying to pour your love into a vessel that can never be filled. So what does all of this mean for you, beautiful Taurus? The cards are being incredibly clear that you're about to discover some very disturbing truths about someone you care about. This isn't going to be easy information to process, but it's information you desperately need to have for your own protection and well-being. The pathological behavior that's going to be revealed involves deep-seated patterns of manipulation, control, and emotional abuse. This isn't someone having a bad day or going through a rough patch. This is someone whose entire approach to relationships is fundamentally damaged and dangerous. The cards want you to know that none of this is your fault. You didn't cause their pathology, you can't control it, and you cannot cure it. What you can control is your response to it once you have full awareness of what you're dealing with. This discovery is going to be painful. There's no way around that. You're going to grieve not just for the relationship, but for the person you thought they were, for the future you imagined together, and for the time and energy you invested in something that was never real. But the cards also want you to know that this revelation is a gift from the universe. You're being freed from a situation that was slowly poisoning your soul. You're being given the information you need to make an informed decision about your future. Your Taurus nature values stability, loyalty, and commitment, which makes it even harder to accept that someone you've invested in isn't worthy of that investment. But sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to stop trying to make something work that was broken from the beginning. The universe is surrounding you with protection right now. Trust your instincts, trust what you discover, and trust that you have the strength to handle whatever comes next. You are so much more resilient than you realize, and you deserve a love that builds you up rather than tears you down. Remember, discovering the truth about someone's pathological behavior isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of your freedom.